Well, hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Youth Ministry Mentor. I'm your host, Tony Wolf, and today I want to be talking about games. But before we dive in, I just really quickly wanted to say, keep in mind, if you're new to the channel, that this whole channel is all about helping you do youth ministry better. And I'm here just to give you advice from my many years of experience and to give you a lot of free stuff. So I hope that's okay with you. But I want to talk about games today and kind of our games philosophy. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, games, what's the big deal? Pick a game, play it. It's simple. That's all there is to it. But I think there's a whole lot more that we could talk about. So in this short video, I just want to give you some things to think about when you are thinking about implementing games into your youth ministry. So the first is, why do we do games? Well, because they're fun. And who doesn't want to have fun? No denying that. Kids like to have fun. I like to have fun. It's just a good time to have fun. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great thing. But also, and look, I really do hate this term because it gets used so much, but they are genuinely icebreakers. I hate to use that term, but games are icebreakers. They're a way to just get kids to loosen up a little bit and it kind of breaks the ice, gets us engaged. It gets us sort of in the flow of things. And you might have newcomers to your youth program or kids that are just new to the area, or they haven't come very much, or maybe they have come some, but they haven't really gotten to know many kids yet, and they haven't really connected. So games are a way to just break the ice, get into the flow of things. I would suggest doing your games towards the beginning of your youth program. It just kind of breaks that ice, kind of gets you in the flow of things, and it starts to bring the guard down. If kids have come in and they're a little bit guarded, it can be a way for them to just be a little distracted and get engaged with the game, and kind of sets the scene for what might be coming later down the road in the evening. And the third thing is, it's a bonding activity. It's an opportunity for kids to get to know each other. So, hopefully you're playing a variety of games, and throughout those activities, there's just going to be opportunities for kids to, depending on the game, they're either going to be doing something physical with each other, or they're going to be sharing things, or they're going to be working together as a team. And there's just going to be some opportunities to bond. And so that's a good thing. That's a good reason to do games. So I think there's a purpose behind that. If anybody ever questions you and just says, in youth ministry, you guys just play games. It's like, absolutely, we play games. And there's a real reason why we do that, because I think it's beneficial to our program. Let's talk about the kind of games that you can play. Again, you might be thinking, well, games are games, whatever. But I think there's a lot of different types of games that we can play. And I think it's something that we should be paying attention to. You can play team versus team games. One of the things we love to do in our youth group often is boys versus girls. That's just popular for us. And at the time, usually we have a pretty even mix right now. Sometimes in some years and some seasons it varies, but when we have a good mix between boys and girls, that's kind of a fun thing that we do. Sometimes we'll just split the room in half. I'll say from, these two couches on this side versus these two couches on this side. Or maybe you have more than two teams. Maybe you have, we have 4 couches in our room. I might say, okay, each couch is going to be a team, or we're going to break off into 4 or 5 or 6 teams, or whatever. But you can do team versus team games. That's an option. You can do everybody versus everybody games. Every man for themselves. There's going to be one winner. Let's say, for example, you do a rock, paper, scissors tournament. Okay, that's everybody versus everybody. We're going to losers sit down, winners get a new partner, and we whittle it down to one winner. That's an option. And then another thing that you might do is team building, where everybody, it's one team, it's one goal, it's one activity, and you all have to work together to accomplish this task. So I guess maybe you might not consider that a game because there's not like a winner. Everybody wins or everybody loses, but those team bonding, team building activities can be good. And then 2 other things that I would encourage you to think about are, one, I like to be very, very aware of my physical activity games where we're running, jumping, throwing a ball, doing things that require some physical activity or some athletic activity. I love to do those, but I always kind of like to balance those with what I would call like trivia games or brain games, or just the activities that maybe use the mind a little bit more than running around the building like a relay race. We might do some some trivia games or some problem solving games. Just because, all of your kids are going to be different, and be mindful, if 80% of your kids like physical games, then I might lean a little bit to that side. But generally you're going to have some kids that love that and some kids that don't really like that. But I genuinely believe that if you balance those out and you're playing a variety of those games, hopefully everyone's having a good time every week, and you're not going to have kids that are like really throwing a fit. They're like, oh, now if you do physical games every week and a kid is just not athletic or hates those games, they might have kind of a bad attitude. They may be like, oh, these games, they're killing me. I don't like the games. But if you keep the balance there, I think they're going to be much more likely to play those games and enjoy those games, because they know that we're not going to do that every single week. And so there's a lot to think about. I'll leave you with a couple final thoughts. One thing that has worked out super well for me is when you're thinking about games in your youth ministry, plan your games in batches. I'll give you 2 reasons for that. Number one, it's time effective. You can when you're in game thinking mode, or when you're going to game websites, resources, or books, or wherever you go to get your game ideas, when you're already thinking in that mode, and when you already have those resources available, or whether you're going purchasing games through download youth ministries is a great resource. Every time I go there, I'll get like 5 games at a time, and then I'll kind of decide where I want to use them. I don't use them all at once, but when I'm there and I'm already thinking about it, I'm going to pick out like 5 or 6 games and just buy those all at once. And then I'm going to think about, what kind of physical games am I going to do? What kind of brain games am I going to do? And I'm going to plan that out. So it's just, it makes things go quicker, kind of easier for me. I don't have to start from scratch every week, but also while I'm thinking, it allows me to plan what kind of games do I want to do on what weeks and what times, and finally, and what kind of resources will I need. So if I do all that at once, then I can make one trip to the store and I can buy balloons and string and duct tape and a bouncy ball and whatever I need, poster board. I have all my games planned, like let's say for the month or for 2 months, I don't know, 4 or 8 weeks worth of games. And then it's just kind of mapped out, it's done. And I'm going to be touching on a variety of these things. So these are just some things to think about when you're planning your games, having a good philosophy of why we're doing what we're doing, and a good strategy of how we can make these really effective to do what we want them to do. And then one final pro tip somebody shared with me once, which I thought was really good, and it has been effective for me too, is this idea. Always leave your kids wanting more. Now, this is a little bit of a delicate dance, but if you play a game and it's really going well and kids are loving it, and you play it and play it and play it and play it for too long, at some point it starts to get boring, and then you went too far. Don't take it all the way to that point, because then they're like, okay, this game's kind of getting boring now. You've kind of missed an opportunity. Now, don't cut it too short. You don't want to be like, okay, we played it for 2 minutes. Now we're just going to cut it short. But play a game while it's really fun and the kids are really getting into it, and you have to kind of have a sense for that. But before it starts to get boring, wrap it up so that they say, "Oh, come on, it was so much fun," and they'll be looking forward to playing it again the next time. So just a little extra pro tip there. Also, final thing, and then we'll be done with this video. In the description below, you're going to find a resource that I'm going to give you, and it is for a team name generator. And it's got 2 lists, and and what you'll do, for example, you could take a kid and say, hey, okay, let's pick one kid. Oh, and your name is Timmy Smith. Okay, so Timmy Smith's initials are TS. And so in the first column of this name generator, you're going to find the T, and it's going to give you a word, and then you'll find the S, and it's going to give you a different word, and then you'll combine those 2 words, and it'll be give you their team name. And so it's just a fun little resource that we've developed, and I'm going to give it to you for free. You're welcome to use it, especially if you're doing games with more than 2 teams. I think this gets really fun when you have like 4 teams, and you say, okay, everybody pick one kid, and then you have this random team name generator, and then kids get wacky names. So that's a free resource I just want to give you. Click on the link in the description below, and it is yours to do whatever you want with. So that's all I have for you today. Again, my name is Tony Wolf. Thanks for joining me. As always, like this video if you gained anything beneficial from it. Subscribe to the channel so I can continue to give you free things and help you do youth ministry in your small church. That's why I'm here. So like, share the video if you know others that might enjoy it, and subscribe. And I'll leave you with this thought like I always do. I genuinely want you to know that I love you, but not nearly as much as Jesus does. God bless you guys.